So, hello. Welcome to the Accountants Mastermind webinar, meeting, whatever language you want to call it, in order to appraise Capium. And as you'll see, Indy and Travis are going to be joining us in a minute in order to demonstrate Capium to you so you can get a feel for whether it's something that you want to look into further. So, how did this start? Basically, I've spoken to lots of accountants in lots of ways, and the majority of people that I speak to aren't overly happy with the current service, the main service provider that we've got, through basically price, the main one, and then also the fact that it's not cloud-based, that you still have to have a server in order to be able to use it. So there is a little bit of disgruntlement out there. So from a Greenstone's perspective, my accountancy firm, we've been looking to move. And as a part of all of those conversations, we've whittled it down to two people that we're looking at, Capium being one of them, hence why we're here today. So this is being offered to or working with the Accountants Mastermind, and I've also got a Facebook group that it's being streamed live into. So if you want to follow up today's conversation with more conversations about stuff like this, all you need to do is go to www.theaccountantsmastermind.com/community, and that will take you to the Facebook group where you can apply to join and come and join us in the conversations. But before I hand over to Indy and Travis, I just want to say that any questions that you've got, please feel free to ask them. If you look at the bottom of your screen, there should be a Q&A. So if you post them in there, then we can monitor them and make sure that each of the questions get answered. Or alternatively, feel free to post them in the chat box, and I'll make sure that I monitor that. And if you're over on Facebook, the reason I'm looking over there is because that's where my Facebook screen is. If you're watching over on Facebook, just post them in the comments and we can go from there. So without further ado, can I please introduce you to Indy and Travis?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. And thank you, Simon. Your name was dropped a lot at a conference that we went to yesterday, which was great. So one of the key messages actually that we took home from that conference was that software should always be designed to kind of unlock time, and that actually one of the core markets that is now being targeted is the millennial, as kind of obviously demographics do move on. Even the baby boomers and the Gen X profiles are moving towards more of this millennial mindset. And what that means is, in fact, most of the accountants being at the conference yesterday were either a Gen X or a boomer. The biggest take home from that was that technology should always be designed to unlock that time and free up more of your time so that you can move towards more premium services, things like the face-to-face or advisory. So one of the things that we're quite proud of is in Capium is that we've designed our software with that in mind. And something that we tend to do is we look at how we can implement new features that will help you unlock time. So just a kind of a step back if you haven't heard or you don't know as much about Capium. The way that we kind of looked at the problem was that we designed an ungated ecosystem of services where you would remove reliance on too many kind of piecemeal softwares, and instead you could work with one software that allowed you to kind of filter the data through to all of your accounting services, thereby speeding up your processing time and removing those unnecessary steps in kind of data jiggling and moving and tweaking. So the Kpm Ecosystem is a range of services which Travis will touch on. We're very proud that we have grown to over 1,000 accounting firms in the UK who service over 150,000 SMEs through the platform. One of the things that we are going to pick on today is our practice management, bookkeeping, accounts production and corporation tax. And we'll talk about some of the other services that enable that data flow to be a lot quicker and easier. So I listed some of the things on the left-hand side that you can see, document sharing, e-sign, receipt scanning. These are all small features that, some of the market players have built their entire business on. But these are also features that are just covered within our platform. And the one thing that we would say is we call ourselves ungated, in the sense that you can start with 1 or 2 services and then build up from there. Most of our clients start with accounts production, corporation tax, and personal tax, but we have a 96.4% retention rate on customers, and that is because we tend to find that most of them are upgrading to other services such as a payroll and practice management and our newly launched company secretarial service. So I'm going to hand you on to Travis so that we can kind of talk through some of these features that, as I said, are designed to unlock time for you. And we'll talk through several features within each of those services that we offer. Any questions, please just pop them in the chat, and I'll do my best to make sure that if we don't cover something, that I'll jump in and build on the demo that Travis will give.
Thank you, Indy, and thank you, Simon, for the introduction. So hi guys, my name is Travis, and today the theme of the webinar, the theme of the demo is unlocking time. And what I'm here to do is hopefully show you just exactly how Capium helps you to unlock time in your practice. Now, before we actually dive into the demo parts of this webinar, just to quickly give you an overview of what you see on the screen. This is essentially the Kpm ecosystem, as Indy just mentioned. It houses the 8 modules we provide at Capium. So you've got bookkeeping, which will flow into the accounts production, into corporation tax, into self-assessment, and all of that will feed directly into your practice management, giving you an overview of your deadlines, your tasks, your services, and invoices. You then have the company secretarial, Capium Hub, and Payroll. Now, the first part I would like to take you into is the bookkeeping. Within the bookkeeping, we have a tool called Capiscan. Now, Capiscan is essentially your receipt scanning tool. So if you think of all the market alternatives out there, this is what Capiscan will do. Now, you may think what's so different about it, there's so many different receipt scanning tools out there. The one good thing about Capiscan is the ability to bulk approve of those receipts. So now if I've just filtered by the dates, just to give you an overview of all the receipts we have on here, then change the status to pending. I, as an accountant, can now go into this section, view all the receipts that's been sent by all my clients. I can then go into the action drop down, click record, and that will create the invoice for that particular customer. Now, as you can see, that's the very straightforward process, as opposed to going into each and every individual client's dashboard and doing that process one at a time. It just saves you time and makes that process so much more efficient.
Just to take a step back on that, so Capium Hub, which is our business app and client dashboard, is it's a separate service that we offer where you can pass on to clients a business app which allows them to raise sales, purchase, and invoices, and as well as scan receipts. So that's where your client will scan the receipts and all that data will be thrown into the bookkeeping software, which is what Travis is referring to in terms of the Capiscan and being able to bulk approve all of those receipts in one go. And that, in terms of a product, when you compare it to what sits on the market, as Travis touched on, in terms of the price point for us, we know is very competitive. Travis, can you mention? Could you mention
I
that?
believe it's 25% less, less than the market leader. So something to think about.
Okay, great. And so then building on that, so you would go into bookkeeping and you can see that you can go into your quick entry for anything that's...
Yeah, so essentially the next point, as Indy just quickly highlighted there, is a tool called Quick Entry. Now, Quick Entry is a way, it's similar to Capiscan, but picture this, you've got your receipt scanned through and you've forgotten 2-3 additional receipts. You then head into Quick Entry, create a new Quick Entry, add as many rows as you need to, let's say 3 additional receipts. You can then change the type of receipt to be an invoice or a purchase. So when you click receipt, fill those details in, and then you can save. Now you can add as many rows to this. It doesn't have to be obviously 2 or 3. So if you were looking to add, let's say, 50 receipts from the shoebox, sorry, of receipts that you receive from one of your clients, head straight to quick entry, add as many rows as you need to, fill those details in, and save. Now, sticking in bookkeeping, I just wanted to quickly highlight bank feeds. Now, bank feeds is a pretty common area within bookkeeping softwares, but the one good thing about Kpm's bank feeds is the link with TrueLayer's open API. Now, this allows us to link with most UK banks. It brings those transactions in automatically every midnight, but then you also have the ability to bring them in manually at any given time. Now, as I said, this is linked to almost all UK banks, so setting this up is very quick, it's very easy, and you shouldn't have any issues whatsoever. The fourth and final feature I wanted to quickly mention within bookkeeping is MTD. We are MTD compliant, and we support the standard submissions to Hmrc and the bridging submissions to Hmrc. So if you do use another software, another bookkeeping software, you can bring those transactions in using the MTD bridging and submit your 9 boxes directly to Hmrc. Now, it's as easy as 3 steps. You create the VAT period, add the transactions in, produce the 9 boxes, and submit off to Hmrc. Once you've got that, you've got your confirmation, you've got your response, and you're good to go.
Great. So you mentioned some other bookkeeping softwares, and I know that we're going to move over to accounts production, so it'd be good to know how we can kind of save a little bit of time with other bookkeeping softwares that might work with Capium. As we said, we're ungated, so if we can talk about that as well.
Absolutely.
Hello,
So,
Travis. Can you just either speak a little louder or put your microphone a little bit closer to your mouth, please? Because it's a little bit quiet, my end. Ah, there we go. Thank you.
That should be clearer, yeah? So as Indy said, we are on an gated ecosystem, and we do want to integrate with as many softwares as possible, providing they bear benefits to obviously you as the accountants and to us as the providers. Now that will take us into accounts production, where we've recently integrated with QuickBooks, Xero, and Free Agents. The Free Agent integration was actually just yesterday, so that's the newest integration we've done. Now, in terms of the integration, it's a trial balance imports. So you as accountants can import your trial balances directly from QuickBooks, from Xero, and from Free Agents into Capium's accounts production module. Now, with that trial balance, you can produce your accounts. And as I said at the beginning, the data you import, the data you bring in, will feed directly into the tax modules. Now, to produce that trial balance, you head into the accounts production dashboard, head to tasks and trial balance. If you haven't added the accounting period, you will need to do so. So just to click here, take me to the accounting periods page, set up my accounting period and save. Head back to tasks and trial balance. Create that trial balance. And then here you enter your description. So if we just call this demo TB, select between your annual or management trial balance, select the accounting period that you've just created, and then select the mode of imports. Now you have 6 options here. The bookkeeping will obviously automatically bring that trial balance in from Capium's bookkeeping module. The CSV allows you to import your own trial balance. The manual, of course, is for you to type your own trial balance entries out, your own journal entries out. And then you have the 3 integrations we have. So you've got QuickBooks Connect, you've got Xero, and you've got Free Agents. And as Indy mentioned, these will feed in directly from each individual provider and bring that data in automatically. You can then produce your final trial balance and produce your annual accounts with that. Now once you produce and saved that trial balance, just head to Reports, Annual Accounts, and Add New Reports. So in this case, we haven't added a contact. So what I'm going to do is just to quickly log into one of my other accounts that has more data in, just to show you the process of producing that trial balance and producing the reports. So if you bear with me just a moment. Let's sign in. So back to accounts production, demo 1. And then now if I go back to annual accounts, create a new reports, what I have here is 3 different types of reports. I have the full accounts to submit to Hmrc with the C600 return. I've got the abridged and then the filleted accounts to submit directly to Companies House. Again, if I call this demo accounts and I chose the full reports, selected the trial balance. So let's just save this one and click generate. You may get some errors in the pre-validation reports, but this is just due to the demo accounts not being set up. Skip and preview. And here you have your full set of accounts. Now you may be wondering what the yellow background is. That's the IXBRL tags. Kpm will do that automatically for you as soon as you press create. So all you need to do is literally just verify the data that's on there and save reports. Once that's been saved, you can then take that accounts or these sets of accounts you've just produced directly into the corporation tax module. So if I load the same client, head to tasks, C600 returns, and as soon as I create new C600, you have the import data from accounts production automatically selected. You can then choose the accounts you've just produced. So demo accounts, I'll call this demo C600, produce the full form and save. And just like that, with the trial balance imported, with the accounts produced, I've got my tax return already prepared. Now what you see here is 2 tabs. The first tab is the quick entry, and this will give you your calculators, your attachments, and any reports. The main form will of course be the actual return itself. And because we've produced the full form, you've got pages 1 to 11. And on page 2, you've got all the supplementary pages all the way from A to J. And by ticking any checkbox, you can see they get automatically populated at the top. And once you're done with any data entry, you don't need to click save manually. It will automatically save. And once you're happy, once you're ready to submit, just head to the submit button on the tasks, submit C600, and you have the first return we just produced there. Click the button and submit. Now this is a demo account, so unfortunately I won't be able to show you the process of doing the submission, but it's as simple as entering your gateway details, confirming the accounts, confirming the tax return, and pressing submit, and that's directly off to Hmrc. Now as you can see, all that data is fed through from the bookkeeping into the accounts production, into corporation tax, and now that's going to feed into the self-assessment. The process of producing the self-assessment tax return is pretty much exactly the same as the corporation tax. But before I show you that, just to quickly mention that here we have 3 sub-modules. The SA100, of course, is your individual. The 800 is your partnership tax return, and the 900 is your trusts and estates. Now, the process of producing each 3 is exactly the same. So I'll show you the individual side of things, and I may show you the partnership and trust depending on time. So just to quickly go into an individual client just there.
Just while you're going into that, Travis, I've got a question on the CT600. Does it automatically produce the CT600A if there's an overdrawn director's loan account? Do you know?
It doesn't automatically produce that at the moment, but as I showed when I did the demo, you can select the C600A supplementary form. It will be populated and the figure will be in there, but you won't be able to automatically create the form.
So basically, you have to tell it to do it, but when you tell it to do it, it will automatically do it for you, basically.
Exactly. You just need to select the tick box to create the supplementary form. Once you've done that, the data is already there.
Brilliant, excellent. Thank you.
Now, the process of producing the individual tax return is similar to what you've seen in the corporation tax. So to enter your description, select the tax year, and you can either choose to import the data from your previous returns, or you can enter the data manually. Now, if we select manually, just because at the moment we don't have any data on there, I just said demo SA100, click save, and you're greeted with a similar interface. You've got the main form on the first tab, supplementary pages. Again, to add them, you just need to click the button there, select the ones you want to add, and they get automatically populated. It does support the capital allowance calculator as well. So once you add that supplementary form, you get that in there. You also have your tax calculation in the third tab. And just on the left-hand side, to start from the bottom, you've got your detailed schedule. You got your payments on the accounts, the computation just above, and then you can see the actual return from the SA100 or forms, which will include any supplementary pages you add. Now, once you're done with the data entry, head back to the dashboard. Under the action drop-down, again, you've got to submit to Hmrc. Now, unfortunately, again, as this is a demo account, I won't be able to show you that process. But as I mentioned, it's as simple as confirming your gateway details, confirming the tax return, and pressing submit, and that's off to Hmrc. Now, as I mentioned, you've got the partnership tax return. You've also got the trust and estates. The process is exactly the same, but because we do have time, I'm just going to go over them quickly just to show you that. Now, if I select a partnership client, create SA800, and again, description, SA800, new or amended, select the tax year, and then you've got the mode of imports. Again, bookkeeping, accounts production, or manually. Create a new SA800, and again, you've got the main form, you've got your partner shares on the second tab. You can then go through, click the edit icon, and add any details you need to add to that. You've got additional attachments just there. And then you've got the supplementary pages just there. Now again, once you're done with the data entry, head back to the dashboard. And then under the action drop-down, you've got your submit to Hmrc. The third and final part of the SA self-assessment module, is the SA900. Again, if I select a trust client, create a new return, go through the options, and then it's as simple as that. Now, all that's going to be fed directly into the practice management, as mentioned before. Just to quickly go into the practice management, what you notice on the dashboard is a collection of data from a variety of sources.
So practice management for us is the heart of most of what we do in terms of being able to simplify a lot more time. And I think what we would do is just focus on some of the elements here that we think are quite interesting to you. But practice management in itself is such a huge service for us that it takes around 40 minutes to complete a full demonstration of it. Just so that you can understand all of the benefits of a CRM and the services and being able to simplify some steps in your practice. So for the purposes of this demonstration, we're going to keep it quite short and simple. But if you'd like to see more on this, and we really recommend booking in for a one-to-one demo on it because it does take a little bit more time. So Travis, if you can just focus on the elements of this that we think would probably remove some steps and unlock some time, that would be really good.
Perfect. So just before I dive into the 4 different areas I'm going to cover within practice management, just to give you an overview of the dashboard, you've got a collection of data from the different modules. So you've got your deadlines list, you've got your tasks on the left-hand side, you've got your recent activity and your deadlines by status. This is all interactive, so if you clicked onto the due section of, let's say, your company tax return, it will direct you to the workspace and deadlines and give you a list of all your due company tax returns. Now, the first area within practice management, which I strongly believe will help you save, unlock time and improve efficiencies, is the fees and invoicing facility. Now, if I head into workspace and head into a client workspace, you have a similar interface to what you see at the top. Under the details tab, you have some more information. And under the settings tab, you have the services. Now, these are the services that you set up or you would set up for a particular client. And just below, you have the invoice summary based on the services you've set up. Now, as you can see, the fees have been automatically calculated based on those fees. So if I turned on the VAT return, for example, you can see the fee summary has gone up. Again, that's automatically calculated based on the services that you selected for a particular client. And just down below, you have the invoice settings. So I can choose to bill this client on a weekly or monthly basis. If I go monthly and then choose to have these invoices automatically generated on a monthly basis, and that will just be sent off to this particular client. Once I click save, I can then go into this client's workspace, so workspace and invoices. And here I have the invoice I've just produced. Click into that, ensure that the data is correct. Once that's been done, I can go back to the invoice list and I have several options available for me. I have the ability, of course, to edit the invoice. I can send a reminder, so this will be in the form of an email, or I can send an SMS to this particular client to remind them of the outstanding invoice. You also have the ability to add a receipt once the client has paid for that particular invoice. You can send additional emails and you can download as a PDF. The second area within practice management I wanted to mention is Capium. Now, Capium is a tool which allows you to send documents in real time to your clients for them to sign and send back to you. Now, on the Capium, here you have a list of all the previously sent or drafted documents. You can always see the progress on the right-hand side. And to send a new document, you click the new button, create a new document button, select the client, enter the document title. The client email will be there. You can add any CC reference, just fill that in as well. And then what you can do here is to choose between a template, so something you've previously sent before, or you can select a new document to send to this particular client. Now, if I choose C600 approval, because I've sent this before, the next screen will be for me to choose the particular tags I want this client to sign. Now, that will include stuff like the name, the email address, the date, so on and so forth. It just depends on what you want to have in that particular document for the clients to sign. Now, I believe because this is a test account, I don't have the data on here. But what you need to do, or what you do in this situation, is just drag and drop the tags you want the clients to sign, for them to sign and send back to you. And again, this is done in real time. So it enhances clients and accountants collaboration and just means you get your data transferred to you as quickly as possible. But for your clients to actually sign, receive and sign these documents, you as an accountant need to create a workspace for them. So they will then need to log in to that workspace you create, which is completely secure. They can then sign that document, and as I said, send that back to you in real time. Now, the third feature I wanted to mention is the link between your tasks and your deadlines. Now, within Capium, just to give you a backstory, Capium's practice management will automatically pull through your company's house-related deadlines. So that includes the company accounts and confirmation statements. You can then link those deadlines you've created to your tasks. And what I mean by that is, if I head into deadlines, here I already have a few deadlines available, but if I created a new deadline, I have the option here to add to tasks. And what that means is that once I've created this deadline, a task is automatically created based on this deadline. So once you mark the deadline as submitted, the task will also be marked as completed. And this works vice versa. So if you mark the task as completed, the deadline, of course, will be submitted as well. Now, it's worth noting that the Capium Practice Management will automatically mark a deadline as submitted from the core modules. So once you've submitted, let's say, your accounts production, your annual account, in the accounts production, Practice Management will pick that up and mark that as submitted, and then linking that to the task as well. Again, making that process of submitting your deadlines as easy and as quickly as possible. Now, going back to tasks, you have the ability to set up deadline-specific tasks, as I've just shown you, and you also have the ability to create ad hoc tasks. Now, just to show all, you should be able to see very shortly a list of all the tasks I have set up. You have the status on the right-hand side, you have the progress just there, and then you're able to see if there's a deadline linked to this task. So if I create an ad hoc task, what I have the option to do is to choose if I want this to be billable or non-billable. I can enter a task title. a short description, select the clients, and the service will, of course, by default be ad hoc. The show more option gives you the option to add a start and due date for this task. I can assign this task to any of my staff members, and I can then add any steps or as many steps as I want to this particular task. Now, of course, once you're done with any data entry, just make sure you save so that data is put through. And once that's been saved, you can see the task I've just created, the test ad hoc task, is now there. Now, the fourth and final feature I wanted to show you is less of a feature, but more of a benefit of the Kpm Practice Management. It's a service called Assign Services. Now, if I head into the settings and Assign Services, what you have on this screen is essentially a grid of, on the left-hand side, of course, you've got your clients, and just above you have the list of services that you provide to your clients. What you're then able to do is go through item by line and assign or unassign particular services to any clients. And it's also a very good way for you to see where you can potentially upsell your services to any of your clients who don't have any particular services.
So going back a step, that is where we kind of see a unique position for you to upsell and also move towards more advisory, is being able to identify a snapshot where your clients are and which services they aren't leveraging. And this is a great way for you to kind of take that data, do something with it, perhaps, you know, identify and segment which are your highest profitable customers, and see if, you know, for a luxury service that you'd offer a one-to-one advisory face to face, then you can segment a lot better within your client base, and then start to kind of drill in and offer more of the face-to-face led services. But while I've got you, Travis, then could you just talk to me? I'm not sure if you mentioned some of the things around document storage and letters of engagement and templates. It would be good to kind of talk about how we kind of remove some more steps in the process for clients who are new customers.
And just before we get to that, I've got a couple of questions. The
Yep.
first one is on, can you use Capusign to send pay slips to customers, or is there something else within Payroll to do that?
So the payroll, which I'm going to cover shortly, you can send those payslips directly to your clients. If you want them to sign before you process anything, you can of course use Capusign for that. But payroll in itself allows you to send those payslips directly to your clients.
Okay, so there's something within Payroll that allows us to do that.
Yeah.
And then I'll come to the task question in a minute, because that's specific to Greenstones. How many clients can you have on PM at any one time, including assigning the services to them?
You can have as many clients as you physically have on assigned services at any given time. So as you see, as I'm scrolling down, it shows me the list of all my clients. The services stay still at the top. So you can have as many clients as you want.
Excellent. And I don't know whether I missed this bit, but when you set the tasks up, say for example, in our accounts production system, we'll have get client records, prepare accounts, send accounts to clients for signature, client assign the accounts. Can you set that up as a template? So each time we run an accounts service or job or task,
Yeah.
So is that a step? Is it?
Very good question. So in these services within the settings, if I go into company accounts, for example, next you have the particular steps for this task, for this service, the company accounts. Once you've set this up as the default, it will stay for any individual clients. You can, of course, change it on a client basis, but over here, once you set it up like this, it's done for all clients.
Brilliant. And how do we have to physically or manually go in to generate that? I'm trying to checklist or task it, or does it automatically generate it off the year end or some other metric that's already in the system?
So, I mean, initially Kpm gives you a default set of steps,
Right.
but the accountants have the option and the ability to customize, delete, or change the steps to suit their practice. Once that's been set up, it will stay the same as long as they leave it that way. So if they need to make any amendments to that, they will then need to do that manually.
Okay, and then I've got a couple more questions that I'll save until the end, if I may.
Yeah, of course.
Because I think they might be an Indy question as opposed to a Travis question. But yeah, I've got a couple more in the system.
Cool. So as Indy just quickly mentioned, in terms of letters of engagement, document storage, document sharing, absolutely, Capium helps to get your clients onboarded quicker. So if I head into the Capium CRM and head into the contacts workspace, here is where you'll be able to set up your prospects, your leads, and any converted clients. If I head into this particular prospects workspace, again, similar to the client workspace, we have the proposal and letter of engagement. If I click the new button to send a new proposal, enter the document title, test LOE, select letter of engagement, and then select the template. Capium will then generate automatically its letter of engagement. Now, this is fully customizable, both on here and as a template. You then have the email as well, again, fully customizable. And the great thing about this is that the letter of engagement will automatically pick up the services that you've set up for this contact. So if I head back to this screen, head to services, these are the services I've set up for this particular prospect, and they will then be automatically populated onto my letter of engagement that I wish to send to that prospect. And then in terms of document storage, so let's say you've gone through all the process of sending your letters, you've sent your proposal, and the client is that this contact has now become your client. I can then head into workspace. Let's say it was this client here, and that letter of engagement and any correspondence I've sent to that particular client will be stored under the document storage section just here. So on the workspace, documents, any documents I sent, or I shared, or I stored will be saved into the document section here. And it's worth noting you can also send your proposals and letter of engagement to existing clients and not just prospects or leads. So that pretty much covers the entirety of practice management as a short demo. But as Indy said, if you did want to see a full-length one-to-one demo of the entire practice management, please feel free to get in touch with the sales team, and we'll be happy, more than happy to book a session for you in. Now, the next area I would like to cover is payroll. I know there was a question on payroll, so I think it would be good to go into payroll now, just to talk about some of the features that I believe strongly help you unlock time. Now, here is the dashboard. You have your submission summary, you've got your list of clients, you've got your list of PAYE clients. Now, on the left-hand side is a tool called Bulk Payroll. And bulk payroll is essentially a way for you to automate your monthly RTIs. You know, this will automatically send out your pay slips, this will run your payroll for you, and this will inform anyone that needs to be informed. So if I selected Kpm Limited, manage schedule, I then have the ability to set up the payroll run dates, submission dates, pay dates, the period. I then have the option to set a reminder. I can then, of course, set this to reoccur, which is what anyone would want to do. Notify the clients, notify the client manager, and notify the accountants. As I mentioned before, when you asked me the question, Simon, you can send those payslips automatically to both the employee and the employers, so the clients. If I tick the employee payslip button, it will send that to the employees, which is obviously password protected. And then I have the option to sync this data with the bookkeeping module. Doing this essentially just creates a journal within the bookkeeping, so it just establishes that reverse integration between bookkeeping and payroll. And then, of course, once I save that with the date setup, that will just automatically run for as long as I leave it to run for. Now, heading back to a specific client's dashboard within payroll, if I head into demo one really useful tool is the auto enrollments within payroll. And the reason I'm mentioning auto enrollments is because of the integration we have with Nest and Smart Pension. Now, because of this integration, you will be able to do your enrollments directly from Capium. You can set up the contributions. You can add your own custom pension scheme as well if you didn't have or if you don't use any of these providers. And because of that integration, you have the correspondence sent automatically from Capium as well. You, of course, have your pension assessments, which you can send directly from here. And then you have the pension service log. Again, because of the integration, everything is done directly from Capium. Now, in terms of saving time and unlocking and saving time, the auto enrollments, the bulk payroll are two very big features that help you do this. And just before we round off on payroll, just to show you some of the additional features, just to show you, for example, what the payslips look like. If I clicked onto this particular client here, Mohit Bahiti, you can see this particular employee's payslip, sorry, which is fully customizable in the sense that you have different templates linking to Iris and Sage. Now within payroll, that pretty much covers the entirety of it when we talk about unlocking time. Again, if you'd like to see a full-length demo of the payroll module, please feel free to call the sales team and we can book in a full-length demo of that.
And some of you may have spotted some of the elements on the left-hand side in the menu that are covered within payroll as well. So it's definitely worth going into a bit more detail with them. But Travis, if you could just click on some of the menu options there for P11Ds and submissions so people can see what they're getting.
Within the reports, you get comprehensive reports as well. So you get a lot of features within payroll. And to cover this in full will take some time. So yeah, as Indy said, book a demo and we can cover everything within the payroll demo.
So great. So if
I could just add, from our perspective, from a Greenstone's perspective, we're already using the payroll module.
Yeah.
And in particular, we're using it for the automatic processing of director-only payrolls, which, although it took a little bit of setting up in order to get it going, but now it's set up and working, it's saving us an infinite, days a month in that automatically going through. So
perfect.
It's I think that's a really useful feature.
Yeah. Absolutely. That, as I said, it's something that once you set up once, you can leave to run as long as you need to, and you can be rest assured that it's just going to automatically run. And yeah, saving you time as you've seen, guys. Now, the last feature I wanted to mention is the company secretarial, the Kpm company secretarial. Again, this is something that is very comprehensive, and to cover this will take some time. So just to quickly mention some of the main features and the more useful features within Kpm's company secretarial. Now on the dashboard, you've got your deadlines, you've got your company formations. So of course you can do your company formation from here. Along the top, you have some additional menus as well. You have your formations, as I mentioned. You got your share classification. You also have a document storage facility. So if you don't want to use Kpm's document storage, you can also use the company secretarial one. Within the Company's House section, you have the link between Company's House. So for example, you have the download and compare button. You have the ability to download the forms. So this will take you directly to Company's House to download those forms. And yeah, it's a very, very comprehensive module. And it's best to see this in its entirety. So again, something like this would need to have a full-length demo. So if you do want to see this, please call the sales team and we can book that in for you. But that covers all of the demo from my side. Thank you very much for listening, guys. I think I'm going to hand over back to Indy, where she's just going to finish off.
Great. So we've covered, we've covered quite a few of the features that we think are designed to unlock time. Obviously, we listen to our customers quite a lot in terms of their feedback and what we try to implement. As of this morning, we were live with free agents, so that's a great integration for us to have live already. And you can see some of the upcoming releases that we're concentrating on, which will also help to just move us forward in terms of the product. And we welcome that feedback from our clients because that is something that helps us to continue our growth. And if you are interested in sort of migrating over to Capium, one of the things that we do also have is a migration webinar recording that we've previously done in terms of how easy it is to import data into Capium. So there are various means and measures that you can use to import the data, and we cover kind of each element of the services that we use and how you can do a migration into that particular service. Simon, I think you had a couple of questions for us outside of that as well.
Yeah, one of the questions, funny enough, was around the migration and what bits. What bits do you do? Do you take it all across? Do you just take names, addresses across, or is all the tax information and accounts information? Does it go across? And more importantly, perhaps is what's the downtime? So does it happen overnight, over the weekend? Are we without it for 2 or 3 days? How does it work? Just give me a bit of a feel for how it works.
So the migration is done in two ways. The first is essentially a quick import, a CSV import of data. That can be stuff like names, addresses, and that can be stuff, more complex stuff like employee year-to-date information. It can be your pay slips, it can be your invoices. So it really depends on what data you can get from your software and what data we can import. But before any migration is done, we always have a session just to let you know what can be imported and what can't, and what we can't import. But it's very rare that we struggle to import some data.
What we say is that, you know, it's what we tend to import is the last 2 years worth of data, and the rest of the information that you may have from your legacy system. We say do take a data backup and put it on a hard drive, and also retain read-only access, because there are a lot of software providers that would give you read-only access to previous data so that you have it there for reference. But for the purposes of using Capium, 2 years is enough to suffice. One thing that we do say is, if you really, you know, if you would like to talk to Capium about us potentially migrating any of that data in, we are open to the conversation, because we're always happy to kind of support, but it is something that we do charge additionally for, because it is for, you know, for us it is accessing your data and reworking it, and it needs to be in the way that you would like it to be done. So there's always ways and means to do it, but I definitely say as a first step, it's worth watching the migration webinar to see if that answers all your questions, and if not, then yeah, we happily will engage in a conversation with you on how we can help.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Then the next one's a bit of a technical question around what accounts it does. So does the program produce full FRS 102 accounts, and another one that's charity accounts and trust accounts? So what accounts does it prepare, and what doesn't it prepare?
So it prepares full FRS 102, 102.1a, 105, and UK GAAP accounts. It also does the full abridged and filtered, as I mentioned. The only ones that we currently don't support but are working on is the charity consolidated and trust accounts. We also currently don't look at pension accounts. So we support most of the limited we support limited companies, sole traders, individuals. But yeah, pension, charities, trust, and group accounts we don't support at the moment.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. And then the final question, which is always one that comes up eventually, is around the price and the users. So is it a price per user, a price per module? Is it unlimited users, unlimited clients? How does the pricing structure work?
So the pricing structure is based on your number of clients. We have 3 brackets that we tend to put on our website that are the main brackets. So up to 100 clients, up to 300 clients, up to 500 clients. We do have companies that fall outside of those client ranges. So we have got customers with, you know, up to 1,000 clients. We've also got customers that have 20 clients. So we tailor our quotes based on, you know, how many clients you have, and what that covers is that we say you can purchase a full suite of software, and that if you were a small practice with up to 100 clients, for a full suite of software, it's around £115 per month. For up to 300 clients, it's £255 a month, and up to 500 clients is £345 a month. Those are all, we tend to bill annually, and those services that are included are accounts production, corporation tax, self-assessment, payroll, practice management, and the bookkeeping with MTD. The only thing that isn't included in that price, which is an additional, is Kpm Hub and company secretarial. And they have a separate charge. Again, it's based on client limits. So you have your small, medium, and large, and they are £50, £75, £100 paid monthly, respectively. So what that does obviously include is unlimited user licenses. We are a truly cloud platform, so that means that we don't have any VPNs or desktop licenses. So it means that as and when you are scaling up and down with your practice, you can bring on additional staff to access the system. Obviously, there's e-sign in there. It's unlimited e-sign. So where you would typically tend to buy a separate package for e-sign software, that's included in the price. We also include SMS reminders. If you are purchasing our full suite, then you get unlimited SMS reminders and email reminders to your clients. And we also include in their storage. So, and it's all MTD and GDPR compliant, so that makes it very easy for you to know that, you know, we are continuously improving our modules. One thing that we also do get asked is, you know, how likely are you to change the price tomorrow if you get acquired by X, Y, or Z company and then, you know, drive the prices up? We do say, you know, our end game is really about growth and scale across the board. So we're not really, you know, we've kept the same prices for the last 5 years for a reason. Because we are truly cloud, we don't have any legacy systems, desktop systems that we've built upon, which can drive up the price of, you know, trying to move towards a cloud-based system. So for us, you know, we are comfortable with our pricing and have been for the last few years, and yeah, so that all of that information can be found on our website as well. And of course, you know, we are open to also providing the community of the Accountants Mastermind a special kind of discount for the purposes of joining this webinar. So we're happy to pass it on by you, Simon.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. I'm sure that'll be gratefully received. So just to summarize that then, it's unlimited users. As I say unlimited, but you can have as many users as you want, and the price is dependent on the number of customers that you have that use the various modules. But at the most, I think I typed in at 345, was it, at 500 clients, it was about $4,000 a year for everything. So it's that sort of ballpark.
Yeah. So what we tend to find is, in terms of software, we are probably about 25% of the price of some of your ecosystems that are desktop based. So we know that if you're thinking of some full suite software that may be desktop based and you're spending an average of, say, like, I don't know, £5,000, then with Capium you'll probably spend about 1,300.
Okay, brilliant, thank you. And then the last question, let me just check over on Fate. Yeah, and the last question is around an audit package. So is there any audit package or audit system within it at the moment?
At the moment, no, we don't support the actual auditing process, but you can produce audited accounts.
Brilliant, excellent, thank you. So is there any other information that you want to share, Travis or Indy? Is that have you covered off everything that you want to cover off?
Yeah, we have. Thank you. Well, we hope that we've covered enough for everyone in the community. But like, as I said, you know, we have very much focused on that theme of unlocking time and making sure that you can see that the software is designed for you to be able to kind of walk through it very quickly, very easily. And we hope that that answers a lot of your questions in terms of what you would like to see. But if we haven't covered anything, then we are sorry for that, and we definitely would welcome a one-to-one demo, which you can book on our website directly at a time to suit you with one of our experts. And yeah, so that's the only thing that we would add.
Brilliant. So next steps then basically is, if anybody would like to look at it in more depth and interrogate some people personally at your end of the world, if they email info@kpm.com, that's the best way for them to get in touch.
Yeah, best way to get in touch, info@kpm.com for any direct questions. Brilliant. Or go to the website for a one-to-one demo.
Brilliant, thank you. And then the live stream is over on Facebook as well. I'm sure there'll be a conversation to be had around the demonstration over the weekend in Facebook. So if you're not part of that group, then you just need to go to www.theaccountantsmastermind.com/community, and that will take you over to Facebook so you can register. So there's no more questions on the thing. So that just leaves me to say thank you very much, Indy and Travis, for sharing the webinar today. That is fascinating. It's given me lots of things to think about going forward. And obviously to say thank you to everybody that's come along to the webinar to watch and join in the conversation about how we can make our practices more efficient. It's been
Thank you, Simon.
Thank you, Simon.
You're welcome. It's been a fascinating and interesting conversation. So thank you very much.